Michelle here at Serendipity House in Southern New Hampshire. This is the only way I can get myself in the video wide angle. I'm going to show you how I created this beautiful buffet using some of the new Iron Orchid Designs, Iron Orchid Designs 2025 Spring Collection. For this project, what I'm using is Sparrow's Nest mold, as well as the Shade and Song stamp. This is just one piece out of the 12 by 12 sheet. I cut it apart and you'll see exactly how I do that. And I'm also using White Swan paint by DIY and lots of dark wax to bring it all together at the end. Check below for links to all the products, where you can purchase them, as well as a link for lots of other tutorials with all of the new Iron Orchid Designs Spring 2025 collection. Have fun, I can't wait to see what you create. And this is our blank canvas, a dark mahogany 1920s buffet. I'm sure you've seen them around the thrift stores. The first thing I'm going to do is take off any of the extra details that date the piece. I'm going to use Bondo to fill in any holes, sand, and finally give it 2 coats of primer. This will have my surface all ready for bright white paint. I mixed up some Debi's DIY White Swan paint and salt wash to create a texture effect. I didn't show this part, but I just applied it with a cross hatch, and you're going to see how awesome it looks later when I apply my wax. I'm just opening up my new IOD stamp, Shade and Song, and cutting it apart so I can use each of the branches separately. Fill your empty ink pad with Iron Orchid Designs ink. I'm using the Stone Gray for this project. I'm going to let this sit and soak into the pad before I turn over my stamps and evenly apply the ink. I did a fair amount of staring at this and my stamps so that I had some idea of the direction I wanted my piece to take. When you're ready, apply the stamp to your piece. Keep one hand holding the stamp steady, and with the other you kind of tickle the stamp, not pressing too hard, which helps to get an even application of the ink. Now, you might make some mistakes, don't worry. I made plenty, and I'm going to show you how to fix those as we go along. Time for some layering and more dimension. The design of this whole piece was really done around using the Sparrow's Nest mold. So I'm excited to see how this part is going to come together. Of course, I'm using the IOD air dry clay, which is my favorite. You can find that as well as the Sparrow's Nest mold and the Shade and Song stamp and everything else in this video at Serendipity.House. To apply the castings, I'm going to use gravity. I put the buffet on its back so these could just lay flat and dry overnight. Make sure when you're pressing your clay down to squeeze all that extra glue out, you don't stretch your mold. Try to push it inward and you will get less shrinking. The other thing that helps is to add a thin coat of paint while your clay is still wet. So it's the next day and I've decided I need more branches. You can use the mask that comes in your set of stamps to continue stamping and create an illusion of foreground and background. I'm adding just a touch of color. I know that my main focus later is going to be dark wax. So for now, I'm going to do a little bit of DIY paint in Painterly. I grabbed a little bit of Farm Fresh and some white, but I really want to keep this piece neutral, so I'm applying very lightly. It's time to seal everything with 2 coats of clear wax. Because my paint is so porous, it really drank the wax. And you always want to apply clear wax before any colored wax, and you'll see why in a little bit. I let this sit overnight, and now I'm going to apply my dark wax. I'm really pushing the dark wax in so it gets in deep to all of those crevices. Now this part, the dark wax and all of the shading, is what took me the longest on the entire piece, but it really helps the whole piece come to life. This is going to highlight all of the texture we created with the salt wash and all of the beautiful detailing in the IOD molds. The reason we use clear wax in the beginning is because now it can act as an eraser to the dark wax. So if it's too heavy somewhere, you put a little dab of clear wax and you can go in and lighten it. Look, it's an eraser. If I hadn't used my clear wax, this dark wax would have soaked right into the paint and it never would have moved. When you're all done and you like the way your piece looks, buff all of your wax out. You'll get a nice soft sheen and a beautiful seal to your artwork.